Florida is grappling with a devastating opioid epidemic. This crisis has claimed countless lives and shattered families across the state. The Sunshine State has become a hub for drug trafficking and abuse. Powerful opioids like OxyContin, fentanyl, heroin, and crack cocaine flood the streets. The human cost of this epidemic is immeasurable. The opioid crisis knows no boundaries. It affects people of all ages, races, and socioeconomic backgrounds. From bustling cities to quiet suburbs, the grip of addiction tightens its hold. The crisis has overwhelmed healthcare systems, social services, and law enforcement agencies. The fight against opioid addiction is a complex and multifaceted challenge. This epidemic did not emerge overnight. It is the result of a confluence of factors. These factors include the overprescription of painkillers, the aggressive marketing tactics of pharmaceutical companies, and the availability of cheap, potent opioids like heroin and fentanyl. The crisis demands a comprehensive and collaborative approach to address its root causes and provide support to those affected. Florida serves as a microcosm of the national opioid epidemic. Its story is one of pain, loss, and the struggle for redemption. By understanding the complexities of this crisis in Florida, we can gain insights into the broader challenges facing the nation. It is a story that must be told, shared, and acted upon. The journey into opioid addiction often begins with a seemingly innocuous prescription for painkillers. Medications like OxyContin, initially intended to alleviate pain, have become a gateway to widespread abuse and dependence. The overprescription of these drugs has fueled the epidemic, ensnaring countless individuals in a cycle of addiction. Pharmaceutical companies, driven by profit, played a pivotal role in creating this crisis. Aggressive marketing campaigns downplayed the addictive potential of opioids, misleading both doctors and patients. Doctors, often ill-equipped to recognize the signs of addiction, readily wrote prescriptions for these potent painkillers. This combination of corporate greed and a lack of awareness set the stage for the crisis we face today. For many, the initial euphoria and pain relief offered by opioids masked the insidious nature of addiction. Tolerance built quickly, requiring higher doses to achieve the desired effect. As dependence grew, individuals found themselves trapped in a cycle of craving and withdrawal. What began as a solution for pain became a source of immense suffering. The overprescription of painkillers created a vast pool of potential addicts. As prescriptions ran out, many turned to the streets to feed their growing dependence. This shift from prescription painkillers to illicit opioids like heroin and fentanyl fueled a black market that continues to thrive. The prescription painkiller gateway opened the door to a darker world of addiction and despair. As addiction takes hold, it demands a constant supply of drugs. The cost of feeding this insatiable hunger often drives individuals to desperate measures. Petty theft, shoplifting, and prostitution become commonplace as addicts resort to criminal activity to support their habits. The once unthinkable becomes a daily reality as the need for the next fix overrides all other considerations. Breaking and entering, once a distant thought, becomes a viable option for obtaining money or valuables to trade for drugs. Homes are burglarized, cars are broken into, and possessions with sentimental value are pawned off for a fraction of their worth. The ripple effects of these crimes extend far beyond the immediate victims, eroding the sense of safety and security in communities. The criminal justice system becomes intertwined with the opioid crisis. Law enforcement agencies are overwhelmed with drug-related offenses. Jails and prisons become de facto treatment centers, housing a revolving door of addicts caught in a cycle of crime and incarceration. Addressing the root causes of addiction becomes crucial to breaking this vicious cycle. The desperation fueled by addiction knows no bounds. Families and friendships are torn apart as trust is shattered and loved ones are betrayed. The shame and guilt associated with these criminal acts compound the already heavy burden of addiction. The pursuit of the next high comes at a devastating cost to both individuals and society as a whole. Addiction's insidious grip extends far beyond the individual. leaving a trail of broken bonds and shattered relationships in its wake. Families and friendships, once sources of love and support, become strained to the breaking point as addiction takes center stage. Trust erodes, communication breaks down, and the very foundation of these relationships crumbles under the weight of addiction's devastating consequences. Loved ones watch in despair as the person they knew disappears, replaced by a stranger consumed by their addiction. Promises are broken, lies become second nature, and manipulation is employed to fuel the insatiable need for drugs. The emotional toll on families is immeasurable as they grapple with feelings of anger, resentment, guilt, and a profound sense of loss. The once unbreakable bonds of family are tested as parents struggle to cope with the heartbreak of watching their child succumb to addiction. Siblings witness the deterioration of their brother or sister, their childhood memories tainted by the shadow of addiction. Spouses find themselves living with a stranger, the love they once shared overshadowed by the all-consuming grip of drugs. The impact on children growing up in homes ravaged by addiction is particularly heartbreaking. They may witness drug use, experience neglect, or become victims of abuse. The trauma inflicted by addiction can have long-lasting effects, shaping their own relationships and life choices for years to come. The cycle of addiction can repeat itself, passed down from one generation to the next. So let's talk about the elephant in the room, the drug dealers and big pharma. It's a complicated relationship. On one hand, you've got the street-level dealers, the ones who push the illegal stuff. But then, on the other hand, there's the pharmaceutical companies. They produce and distribute prescription drugs. Now, you might think they're like totally different, right? But in reality, they kind of feed off each other. It's like a cycle. People get hooked on prescription meds, and when they can't get those anymore, they turn to the streets. And, well, the dealers are right there, ready to fill that void. And, it's not just about selling drugs. It's about the money, the power, and the control. Both sides, they profit off people's pain and suffering. It's a harsh truth, but it's one we need to face if we're ever gonna, make a change. Legal repercussions can be severe for those caught in the grip of opioid addiction. Many face criminal charges, fines, and even imprisonment. The legal system often struggles to balance punishment with the need for rehabilitation. It's a complex issue where the goal is to help individuals break free from addiction while also maintaining public safety. Recovery from opioid addiction is a challenging journey, but it's one filled with hope and resilience. Many people, like myself, find strength in support groups, therapy, and medication-assisted treatment. It's a path that requires dedication and the support of loved ones, but every step forward is a victory. Raising awareness about the dangers of opioid addiction is crucial. Education programs, community outreach, and accessible treatment options are key components in combating this epidemic. Prevention starts with understanding the risks and making informed choices, while treatment provides a lifeline for those already affected. Ending the opioid epidemic requires a united effort from all sectors of society. From healthcare providers to policymakers, everyone has a role to play. By working together, we can create a future where fewer lives are lost to addiction, and more people can find the help they need to live healthy, fulfilling lives.